Well, hello, good afternoon. This is Sylvia Petz, right from center of Vienna, and Volcanic wines from Styria and Tokaj. Good evening, folks. Good afternoon, folks. And Sylvia, let's speed up, right?
Hello and good afternoon from Vienna. My name is Silvia and I'm very happy to guide you through this tasting together with Piotr. I'm giving a very short introduction on this program. And as you see, volcanic wines, dramatic wines. And I thought it would be a nice image to start with. Please go to the next slide. Just two words to myself. I'm situated in Vienna, as I said. I run an agency specialized on wine and good food and gastronomy. We do PR and online tastings like this one. Thank you. A brief glance on Austria and then on Hungary. Austria, as you can see, the wine regions are situated on the eastern part of Austria, and Styria is in the south, the greener part. If you go to the next slide, please. Styria is divided to east and west Styria, and the red part is the volcanic hillsides. The wineries and the wines we're discussing and tasting today come from this region. It's slopes of distinct volcanoes, of course, and the area is about 1,600 hectares. You'll get a little introduction by a film in a few minutes after we have tasted the first two wines, which comes from Hungary. The wineries we are tasting today in alphabetical order, they are all in the southern part of the volcanic hillsides area, where the real volcanic area is. So the soils are different from the northern part, and all of them come like from the lower eastern part. There is St. Anna and Straden, Kapfenstein, and St. Peter a bit more to the west. So in alphabetical order, there is Weingut Fischer, Weingut Crispel, Weingut Neumeister, Weingut Ploder Rosenberg, and Weingut Winkler Hermaden, and all of them, of course, make white wines, and you'll see them a bit later. Let's go to Hungary. There's a big difference between Austria and Hungary, as you can see. Austria, as I pointed out before, the wine regions are on the very eastern part, and in Hungary, there is wine all over, besides the east and south part with no wines, and the Tokaj region, where we have the wines today, up in the north, as you can see, the purple little spot. Tokaj is much bigger than the volcanic hillsides area in Styria, Steiermark. It's 5,860 hectares. We have two wineries from over there. There is Dan Hemingway Pataki and Mart Moser, and both of them are situated in the western part of Tokaj. And I'm quite fast in introducing this because we are coming to our first winery already, because Karoli Dan, he has to leave very soon. And I would say, let's pour the first wine of Karoli and start with his presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Sylvia. And let's, Karoli, very well. So we start, guys, we start with the wine number second on the tasting card, but this was the last minute change, and Karoli is actually saving the word, coming through Vienna, and it's a terrible time for coming through Vienna. So Karoli, the floor is yours. Go on, please.
Thank you very much, Piotr, and thank you so much for your understanding. Unfortunately, really unfortunately, winemaking is not my day job, and I have another that I need to attend to very soon. We are three partners. We became very good friends when I worked in New York. That's why you have three names on the bottle. My name is Károly Dan. Our second partner is Sylvia Hemingway, also of Hungarian origin, who emigrated with her family in '56. And the third one is George Pataki. He's a third generation American. His grandfather left Hungary at the turn of the century. When we started out in 2012, we already set out many of the goals and kind of the principles that we, along with which we wanted to work. What you see on the photos, by the way, is the terroirs that we have. The one that you see now is the top of San Tamás, in the middle of mud. Those are our plots in the middle. What we wanted to do is non-intervention. This is again San Tamás, the lower part of San Tamás that we have. We wanted to have no intervention, natural fermentation, wines on wild yeast, where you don't add anything. You basically the timing of the harvest pretty much decides everything that's going to happen to the wine, or the way the wine is going to come along. This is the size of battery. We started to buy terroirs by the taste of them, not so much along the lines of what is first class, what is second class, but mostly what is what we liked. The one that you're looking at, the photo, is very important because we never spray anything before the blossoming of the grapes. This retains a certain quality, and especially on the nose in the wine, but I believe it also adds to the taste as well. Right now we work in 6 terroirs. That's the building that we are rebuilding right now. It's an old building. It has its roots in the 16th century, but we started to build it. But it came along in 3 different phases, and the last reconstruction was in the middle of the 19th century. We are turning it into a modern winery. So we pretty much leave everything to the vineyards. That's where we work a lot. It's except for the very mild and gentle plowing. Otherwise, everything is done by hand. It's handiwork. We have a very cold cellar, as you can see. It's pretty much 6 to 8 degrees all year round, and this is where we make our wines. We actually believe in cold cellars. We believe cold cellars are really good. We love to harvest early, so our wines are usually very low in alcohol. It coincides with our concept of winemaking that complexity is not a robust thing. Complexity is microscopic, and it all comes with a certain kind of modesty and focus on the balance between the terroir and the grape varietal itself. The way we see it, it's really very simple. It's like photography. The film is actually the grape itself. The object of which you take the photograph is the terroir, and all the rest, the lighting, the focus and whatnot, that's pretty much what happens in between the two. 90% of that we do it in the vineyards, and less than 10% happens in the cellar. What we do is basically we pour the pure liquid into the barrels, and we let them ferment for at least 8 months on the original lease. This year it's running on 10 months already. We still haven't added sulfur or nothing. We add sulfur once before we bottle, and then we bottle without filtering, and pretty much that's it. The reason why the 2 strokes on the label is because it is the photo of the San Tamás bottle, but the battery comes with the same label. Actually, thank you, Piotr, for jumping back to it. As you can see, it's a very simple label, and the little graphics in the middle of the label actually represents the blossoming flower that you saw. Exactly for the same reason that I mentioned, because we believe it's a crucial moment in the life of the grape every year. I don't know what else you would be truly interested in. This is, I need to be honest, this is my very, very first online tasting. And since we are natural winemakers, there's not much that we can say about technology because we have none. Well, I hope the wine is going to speak for itself. We love very straightforward, balanced wines where the terroir is truly not overtaking, but is very prominent and articulated throughout the whole taste structure. Like I said, nothing is added. We use about 50 milligrams of sulfur in total. Ferment and harsh tobacco needs sulfur because there's a lot of malolactic acidity, and it can do tricks to you if you're not cautious about it. In return, I believe these wines are safekeepers for at least 10 years. We have 2 wines that we have kept for 6 years, and they are pretty much still going forward.
Thank you.
I hope
Thank
I
you,
wasn't.
Karoli. If it was your first time, you did perfectly well. Tell me, the name Batory is after the Istvan Batory is the name of the vineyard, right?
It is the name of the vineyard. It's the same family. This is the uncle of Istvan Batory, who used to be a bishop. And since Tokaj's history is very much coincided with everything that you would imagine happening in our region, he actually took the very easy way of acquiring this vineyard. He actually ordered his army to take it over, and he stationed his army in the vineyards for long enough so that it finally started to bear his name. That was one way of taking vineyards. You could also buy them. For example, a lot of cities and townships had vineyards in Tokaj. One of them is Krakow. Krakow has actually a vineyard in Tokaj. You can still find it because it still bears the name of your beautiful city.
Yeah, thank you. Krakow is the name in Hungarian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me just how many bottles and what is the retail price?
We don't have a retail price because we don't sell retail. I heard your question in the morning, but I didn't want to interfere. We only sell to individuals and restaurants.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The wholesale price for this bottle is 20 euros.
20 euros, right?
Or you can say 1990, and then it's more perfect.
Well, that's okay. 1990, duly noted, right? And the number of bottles.
The number of bottles, it really depends on the year. Like I said, we have, well, probably it's, I think if I put it in the leaflet that we cultivate about 4 hectares, and but we only harvest from 2. It really depends on how, it depends on whether we believe that we can put a certain portion of the wine into the whole thing, because we are retraining everything to be biological. Right now, the number of bottles is around, I would say, 2,000, or it can be a little more, can go up to 2,500, but I think 2,000 is safe to say.
Okay,
but
first comments.
This year, 2020 is almost gone. I have maybe 300 bottles.
I see. First comments, very intensive on the palate. Long-lasting wine and nice acidity, real Furmin taste. So they like it.
Thank you.
It's the first wine, and already 3 comments. Here in Poland, this is pretty unique. They are opening up after the third wine, at least. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Karoli. Go save the word. And we great balance. We like it. Okay, so 4 comments and first wine. Yeah, good.
Thank you. Don't expect me to save the word. I'll try my best, but probably it's not going to happen this evening. But thank you so much for this opportunity. I really enjoyed it, and so sorry for the rearrangement.
No, it's perfect. It's very well. Thank you very much, Karoli, and hope to meet you in Tokaj or in Poland, right?
Anytime, absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the tasting.
Bye-bye. Thank you. And now another winery from Tokaj. And not far from Karoli, Rita and Matt Moser. And Matt Moser, well, Rita, join us, please. So you may remember Mr. Lenz Moser. So this wine is originally the first one on your tasting card, right? In your tasting card. But now it's the second, and here's Rita. Hi, Rita. Hello. We can't hear you.
Just a minute.
And now, yes.
Right now?
Right now, yes. Good. So the floor is yours, Rita. 7 minutes, and yes, go on.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation. So thank you for the possibility to being here. Just few words about me. So I was born in Tokaj. In terms of the wine business, I started to work with Tokaj wine producers in 2006. And I was managing the Tokaj Renaissance Association 6 years long, so from 2006 to 2012. Then I started to consult with the Tokaj wineries, and actually I'm a co-owner and brand ambassador of the Mad Mosa brand. This brand is really new. We just released our first wine in 5th of May this year, and this is a new style of ferment. With my business partner Lenz Moser, we founded a company in Austria in order to distribute this wine, and we found our partner in Tokaj in Mad village. Therefore is the name Mad Moser. You can see on the picture the team. On the right side there is Károly Kovács. He's the chef and big boss of the Mad Wine Company, and on the left side the young guy, he's the winemaker of the Mad Wine Winery. They are our partners. On the middle, next to me is Lenz Moser, which is a very well-known name, not only in Austria, but globally. He's a very, very well-known wine expert, consulting in China, in the Chateau Canggu Moser, and also did his first new chapter wine last year in Austria with Markus Huber. And his newest project is the Mad Moser project with me together about the wine. So this is a really new style, dry ferment from the Tokaj wine region. If we are talking about Tokaj, we know that the region is well known. Everybody knows the name, but really not too much people drinking the wine. And Tokaj is first of all well known because of its sweet wines, because of its beautiful botrytized sweet wines. And the dry wines were first introduced from 2000, the year 2000, when István Szepsi, the icon of the region, made his first single vineyard wine, the Urágya Ferment. Ferment is the main grape variety of the region. Almost 70% of the total area is planted with ferment, and it has great potential to create excellent wines because of its high acidity, because of its capability to so it's very prone to botrytis. Therefore, it is the base of the sweet wines. And in this wine, we spice the wine with a touch of harsh level and muscat as well, which gives a little bit more friendliness to the wine. So our aim and goal and our vision with this wine is to make Tokaj well known through the dry wines, because it's very difficult to sell the sweet wines. And our vision that we can give for the wine lovers such a kind of taste from Tokaj, which is totally new, very fresh, very fruity, and they want to get the next sip and they want to get the whole bottle. So the wine is very very friendly and very fruity. It has high fruit intensity. The vintage is 2021, and it's very pity that we could not taste first time, because I think it's the best to taste first because of its fruitiness and younger vintage, but probably it can reflect its character as a second wine in the range as well. The alcohol is a little bit higher. It comes from the vintage character, because in 2021 we had extremely high acidity, and therefore we have to pick a little bit later the grapes. Therefore we have a little bit higher alcohol I wanted to have, but I think we had the perfect, we found the perfect balance and harmony in the wine, even if the alcohol a little bit higher.
Well, yeah. So pretty high alcohol, pretty high acidity, 7.2, and sugar, residual sugar is 4.7. So, and what about the volcanic aspect?
Yeah. So the wine is coming from the Mad area. So Mad is the village, and around Mad I found I think the best first, second classified vineyards of the Tokaj wine region. And actually the Tokaj wine region is located on the Zemplén mountain. You can see on the map behind the bottle. And this mountain is more than 15 million years old, and it was shaped and formed by more than 1,500 volcanoes. Deep layers of andesite, rhyolite, zeolite, tuff volcanic rocks are in the base. So these are by the eruption and post-volcanic actions delivered into the region. First we had eruptions under the sea, the Pannonian Sea. Then it was totally so the sea went and stayed the marine settlements, and these volcanic tuff of andesite, rhyolite, dacite. These are the base volcanic soils, and on the top there are different kind of volcanic clay and sediments, minerals.
So the sea diminished, and nowadays it's only Balaton Lake.
Yeah, and for
Really?
example, you see the photos in the vineyards. There are these big stones, and these photos were made also in our Saint Tomasz vineyards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. There you can see also the color of the soil. It's very iron rich, so mm-hmm. It's almost red.
Yeah. Yeah, so you know, when you come to Tarsal, which is a little bit farther to the north, you see the mountains in the shape of volcano. Yeah, it's so the volcanic past is you can really easily imagine. So we love your label. And what's the percentage of dry Tokaj producers in Tokaj? Wow, that's a complicated question.
It's difficult to say. Tokaj is very poor in statistics, but how I know it, more than 80% of the production is still sweet, semi-sweet wines. Only 10% is the high-quality Asu wines, so the botrytized, very concentrated sweet wines, and unfortunately 70% are the very light style sweet wines, semi-sweet, late harvest style wines, and only 20% is a dry production right now.
Okay.
Of course, this depends on the year.
Mm. Yeah.
Which is very important to mention. The same because of the dry wines, that we have to pick the grapes for dry wines before the botrytis attack the berries. Very, very important that the berries are healthy berries, so they're not attached by the botrytis.
Right.
For the dry
Rita,
price.
sorry, we have to speed up. Your price, total production, and importer, if you have any.
Yeah, so we are really new, but we already have an importer in Poland, and hopefully within few weeks it will be available, a wine on the market. Slavakoilo, Servile, is our importer in Poland. The price we expect on the shelf is about around 22 euros. And the production for this year, we start with 50,000 bottles for the
50,000. So this is all right. Okay, so the comments coming very well goes with selection of the Polish cold meat, also to cured and light smoked trout. Good, perfect. Rita, we have to speed up, so we have to leave you. And thank you very much for your time and for being with us. And if there's any comments or questions, please answer in chat, right?
Okay.
And now, guys, now the movie. No,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Katowice. Ciao. Hello, Katowice. Yeah. Better later than never. So, movie.
Austria has around 45,000 hectares of vineyard, 5,000 of which are cultivated in Steiermark, which is the German term for Styria. This represents 11% of Austria's grapes, equivalent to around 240,000 hectoliters of wine. Vulkanland Steiermark in southeast Austria contains several distinct small and medium-sized pockets of land dedicated to viticulture, totaling 1,650 hectares of vineyard. The region borders Slovenia to the south, Burgenland to the east, Weststeiermark to the west, and Südsteiermark to the south. Key wine-growing zones include Oststeiermark, Regensburg, Kapfenstein, St. Anna, Tischen, Klöch, Straden, St. Peter, and Gleichenberg.
The wines from Vulkanland Steiermark have a unique, unmistakable character shaped by the volcanic soils. They are very mature, spicy, powerful, and they age well.
They pair excellently with food.
The terroir does the talking here. This delicate, smoky spiciness comes across perfectly in the wines.
A wide variety of grapes are cultivated in Vulkanland Steiermark. The 6 most cultivated white wine grapes are the DAC varieties Welschriesling, Pinot Blanc, Sauvignon Blanc, Gelber Muscatella, Riesling and Chardonnay, which is known as Morillon in Styria.
Steiermark's flagship grape variety Sauvignon Blanc is the leading variety for Ortswein or village wine produced in Vulkanland, as well as the other regions within the Greater Steiermark wine-growing region. Other grape varieties are also produced here, for instance Traminer in Klöch and Pinot Gris in Straden.
In addition to a few large, internationally successful wine growers in this region, 1,100 vintners grow vines as a sideline. These smaller producers own an average of 1.5 hectares of vineyards and serve their wine in Buschenschank taverns. This encourages a vibrant and friendly local wine culture. Vulkanland Steiermark is a region of diverse soils. In the northern part, the vines grow on hard crystalline rocks, while towards the southeast, sand and gravel prevail.
The region's name comes from the geological landscape in the south, which is shaped by extinct volcanoes. Unique amongst Austria's wine-growing region, Vulkanland's soil contains volcanic rocks, which are called tuff and basalt.
The climate in Vulkanland Steiermark is characterized by the crossover of the hot, dry Pannonian climate with the warm, humid Illyrian Mediterranean climate, which brings up to 800 millimeters of precipitation annually.
For a long period, from Middle Ages through to modern times, this area was a borderland that was often fought over furiously and tenaciously. Fortified palaces and castles were witness to this fighting, including the spectacular Regensburg castle. The local wine routes, castles, hiking and biking trails, and the warmth of the Styrian people make this region such a wonderful place to stay.
Well, yeah. And now, Christoph. Sebastian. Sorry, Sebastian. Neumeister. We trained so many times, and yeah, again. So,
no worries, Piotr.
So this is Sebastian Bruckner from Neumeister. And Sebastian, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you, Piotr and Sylvia, for the organization, and thanks for having me at the tasting. Unfortunately, half of the presentation I wanted to tell is was told in the video, but no worries. I have a lot to tell. Where to start? You heard a little bit about the region. It's not overall volcanic soil, and especially here in Straden, we have really just a less amount of volcanic soil. But first, about the winery, you see Christoph Neumeister is on the picture. It's a family-owned winery in the third generation. They produce wine since mid of the 60s. We are organic winery producing around 120,000 bottles in average, with a total hectares around 34, 35. So you see the average yield is really low. It's like around 4,000 kilos per hectares. This is coming from the weather we have. You heard it's a lot of rainfall, but we have still really warm days and cool nights with a lot of rainfall. So it means we have a lot of fungi, Oidium, Peronospora. So especially for the organic wine growers, it's a really hard region to make wines. Yeah, what you saw before was the Vineyard Clausen. Maybe you can go back here. This is the Vineyard Clausen, which we already have the wine in the glass, which you see here. The Ried Clausen is a single vineyard from the Ried Clausen. It's maybe our most steep hill and also with the most calcareous soil. So Straden, you can imagine it was there was a sea a long time ago, a million of years, and it was going around the volcanoes. And so a lot of our soils is really calcareous. We have sandstone, limestone, a lot of gravel coming from the sea. And especially Clausen is our most calcareous soil. So in this wine, even in the really warm year, it's always really elegant, really fine, not really overripe. Even it is ripe, but the aromas are always more elegant, more mineralic, maybe more saltiness, and not so warm climate. In the vineyards, like I said, we are do organic farming. We focus on the Sauvignon Blanc. It's the #1 variety in the Steiermark. But like you heard in the video, Straden has also really much Grauburgunder. So Sauvignon, I would say it's like 35%, and Grauburgunder with the second variety is like 20%. This wine in special is Premier Cru. So we have a classification from the STK wineries. You can see it here on the bottle. So the one is for the Premier Cru, and we also have the Grand Cru, which is with the G STK. So this has to age at least 12 months, but we have it like 18 months, depending on the year, but around 18 months, which you can see also in the fact sheet. Our wines are completely dry, so we try to make it as dry as it goes. Of course, it's not always as easy with the spontaneous fermentation, but in the most years, it's between 1 and 2 grams of sugar. So for us, it's completely dry. 2020 for winemaking year was not so easy. It was a late starting year, but with a lot of rain during the period. With good luck, we had good weather in the fall and can late harvest, which is always good because we have acidity and our typical styles. So, like I said, not how can I say, not overwhelming. It's always a little bit more elegant. And the weather was really good. The average yield was a little bit lower than in the average year. What can I say more? Yeah, 2020, the alcohol is moderate, so with 13%, it's like perfect for us for a wine like this.
There is a question about the climate changes and the influence on in your region.
Oh yes, yeah, it is actually. Like in the last, if you see the last maybe 30 years, you see the wines have a lot more alcohol than they had like in the 90s. So in the 1990s, you had wines with 12.5% was really high alcohol. And today a wine with 12.5 alcohol is really easy to make. So you have to try to keep the alcohol down. So we try to harvest, we prefer to harvest a few days earlier than a few days too late, because if you harvest too late, the alcohol can go up to 14% or much higher. So, and especially in the last maybe 10 years, it was really crazy. You have years like 2013, which 2 months without rain. Then you have years which 2 months only rain. So the weather is going crazy in the last 10 years, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sebastian. Sorry for tell me the price, the retail price in Austria or at the winery is
The retail price for private customers is 26 euros.
26 euros, right?
We produce around 5,000 bottles of it, depending on the year, but around 5,000.
About 5,000 bottles, right? And do you have an importer?
We have an importer, but he's actually regular based in Bremen, so in Germany, but he also has a store in Warsaw. And he also selling our wines there. I don't know exactly what wines of us he has in Poland, but you can order there, or at least he sell it in Poland too.
Okay, and his name is
Vivo lo Vin.
Vivo le Vin.
Yeah.
Vive le Vin.
Yeah. Vivo le
Okay,
Vin,
so
yeah, or Vivo le Vin. Yeah.
This is Artur Zarzycki. Yeah.
It's I think his name is Adam. The guy who is making for the Poland is Adam Bauer, but I'm not sure if how many employees do you have there and who is in charge.
Okay. Vivo le Vin. Okay. Good. What percentage of your vineyard is at the steep parts? Vivo le Vin. Vivo le Vin.
Yeah, Vivo lo Vin, yeah, like
Vivo lo
the
Vin.
first,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. No Vivo. Okay. Thank you.
What percentage? So most of our vineyards are really steep. So there's most of the work we do is by hand. Only a few free work steps can do by a tractor. But we also have some vineyards which can only be do by hand. And also the harvest is 100% hand. So it was not told in the video. If you have we have since 2018 the DAC, like the DOC in other regions, or you know it in Europe. And if you have a DAC at the wine, it has to be 100% hand picked. And on the question, like Clausen is with 65% steep, so it's our steepest. But we are always around 35 to 65%. So maybe you can go a little bit back to the Clausen vineyard, because you can see it really good there. Yeah, you see the region is what you see in the bottom. That's not wine, that's just that's coming from the mixed agriculture, because this region, the Vulcanland, was always mixed agriculture. So you had a lot of yeah, you see the corn. You had corn. You had other fruits like apples, like elderberries, elderflowers, all kind of, and also really much animals. So only on the steep hills there is wine. So if you drive around the landscape, you will never see any wine on the bottoms, only on the hills.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sebastian.
Thank you very much, Piotr.
Thank you, really interesting. And now, guys, I'm pretty sure this time this is Christoph, and this is Weingut Winkel Hermaden, and I'm at least 90% sure it's Christoph. Christoph? Yes. No, I can't hear you. And the others. Microphone. Yes. Now?
Now it should work.
Go. Yes.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. And the floor is yours.
The floor is mine. Nice. So I'm happy to be here with you today. And we have prepared a few slides. Our winery is quite around the corner to Weingut Neumeister. We drive about 20 minutes. And yes, so we are located in Kapfenstein. My parents, that can be seen in the picture, took over the family company around 1977. So my dad and my mother joined them 1986. So she is from Bavaria and joined the winery. And yeah, and her love for beer was changed into the love for wine. And that had also some influence on our wine style. Maybe later some side information on that. Here on the picture you see nearly all of our family. You see the winery family. My parents, left of my mother is my brother Thomas, who is in charge of the cellar. Then I'm the younger self of me, sitting in the middle. Left of me is Wolfgang, who is in charge of the vineyards, and my wife is on the very left. She's in charge of office and wine tastings in the cellar, and I'm in charge of everything else, like, let's say, wine style, customer relationships, and presentation, communications, everything like that. And I hope I can be more in the vineyard in the future again. Okay. Here you see the probably most famous building in our town, this Kapfenstein Castle. That is in family property, and my sister is doing their hotel and restaurant. You also can see behind the castle, if you can go one slide back again, this very flat part that is called Kapfensteiner Kogel. It looks quite flat. It's not 100% flat. But keep that in mind for later, because I will tell you a bit about volcanic landscape. So then in between we had this old picture from Kapfenstein. It was from the 17th century. And as you can see, the castle looks a bit different now. It was a really heavily fighted region here. And so the castle changed nearly every 100 years. The view and also the architecture like it. Okay, and on this image you can see the Kapfensteiner Kirchleiten. That's the most famous vineyard for us, but it's not that one that we will taste today. So to give you a very short overview about the volcanic landscape in our region. So as you before here, we had a lot of volcanoes here, and they were coming out of a soil that was left here from the fading sea. So here was the Bara Tethys, that was a sea that was here, and by the raising of the Alps, the sea was pushed back, and it left behind a lot of sand and a lot of gravel. And from the depths of the sand, the lava was coming off and pushing lava out that was forming basalt, or it was meeting water underground, vaporizing it, and resulting in a huge explosion that was pushing out fine sand, fine gravel, and also fine volcanic ashes. And these ashes usually come out, see in the second part of the picture, at the border of the volcano, and forming these typical craters. And I'm sorry, can we go one slide back? And then you see the left and right of the volcano is only sand and gravel, and that was washed really fast away by erosion. So nowadays you see only the inner parts of the volcano, like in the Regensburg that we saw in the picture, that famous castle there. That is just the inner part of the volcano. The walls are gone, and still inside is just the solidified lava, the basalt. Yeah, and on this picture you can see we have a lot of different volcanoes. The oldest one was 50 million years ago. That big red one in the lower left picture, and it's like 50 kilometers in diameter at the base, stretching from Ilz to nearly Leibniz. So a really huge volcano, something like the Etna, but it was in 2 million years later, the volcanic plates slipped down again and buried the volcano again. And now we see only the volcanoes that just formed recently, like 3 to 5 million years ago. So what can we take with us with that for everybody that is curious about soils? In the valleys, you usually find in the Vulkanland sand and crater. And at the top of the hill, you usually find volcanic soils, or you find remains of rifts like limestone, shell limestone, and so on. And there's also a few parts of Steiermark that have some slate inside. That is parts of the Steiermark that has still that were islands before. Okay, so just give you a broad overview. Coming to our wine, we are also organic wine producer. We are organic since 2012, finally certified since 2012. And we try to make wines that are really impacted by the soils they are growing on. That one that we now have is the Riedklöcher Hochwart. We are also part of the SDK, but this is an unclassified wine. The reason, therefore, is we didn't have, we always forget to classify it, so we have to do it next time. And it grows on a very red soil. It's a basalt, so a solidified lava, and it's at the very top of the hill, so it's not really deep soil. It's like 1 or 2 meters, and then below you find only the hard rock. And we also saw that rock in the video because there was a short introduction about the volcanic soils, and in the background you saw a quarry with very red soil. That is exactly the region where this wine is coming from. And here we have this red color. Also is a hint that there is a lot of iron oxide in the soil, and it gives the wine also this characteristic metallic aftertaste. Regarding winemaking, we usually let it stay on the skins just before fermentation for 8 to 12 hours, depending on the vineyard, the temperature, and the variety. Then we let it sediment overnight and go then quite dirty into fermentation, so with a quite high amount of turbidity. And 2018 was the year where we exceeded our wish to have high minerality, so it was a bit too much, and that's the reason why it was staying a lot longer in the cellar than we wanted at the beginning. And we also started to use a bit of oak again, so we are here in a 3,000 liter oak barrels. And usually in the nose you have quite ripe, I think mostly dried fruit, so like dried mango, bit of firestone, and also on the palate and long aftertaste that is also a bit metallic influenced, and therefore I really love to suggest it to everything that is grilled. So can be meat as well, can be fish, can be a bit smoked, and yeah, I think that goes quite good.
Yeah, so you already replied to the best food pairing for this one. And there are a lot of options because the wine is very fresh, fruity, and also complex and has full of aromas. I would pairing it with fish dishes, light meat dishes with vegans, right? Salads and yeah,
that's good.
Good. Tell me, the total production is how many bottles?
Of this wine, it's around 4,000 bottles of this wine, I think.
4,000.
4 to 5,000 bottles, let's say. Usually we make one 3,000 liter barrel, but in some years we make a bit more. and the Excella price for customer is around 20 euros. Yes.
20 euros. Okay, thank you, Christoph. I'm really happy this time I didn't mess up the first name. So Christoph, yes, thank you.
Okay.
And another comments coming is about thank you. All sounds great. Scallops with wine, butter, sauce. This is our choice for the pairing, for food pairing. Yes. Yes. And something else. Yes, I know. And the importer. What about the importer in Poland? Yes.
We're still looking for one, though.
Okay, so no importer by now. So, guys, you have a chance. Great. Thank you very much, Christoph. And now stay with us if any more comments are coming.
Sure.
Thank you. And now this is Nina. And I'm pretty sure it's Nina this time. And Weingut Crispel. Hello, Nina. Nina, hello. It's the time. Yes, Nina. No, this is we can't hear you. We can't hear you. The microphone. Yes, now it's fine.
Online.
Hello.
Hello. Now it's working. Good evening, Pietra. Thank you for invitation here. This is also my first online wine tasting.
I will help you. So go on.
Thank you. Okay. I'm trying to represent winery Krispel today. It is a family-owned estate or vineyard. You can see the family here on the picture, and the winery was established in 1988, starting with Tony Krispel, the father you see on the left side. And this is the family. Daniela, she works in the office. Then Lisa and Stefan, the kids of Daniela and Tony. Stefan is the winemaker and the manager right now. And his sister Lisa, she's also working in the estate because we have a restaurant, not only winemaker, we also have a restaurant. And Lisa's doing the sweets and Stefan the wine. And Stefan's wife, Julia, she is the girl for everything. If anyone has some problems, or she helps, she's working. Okay. Yeah, we are located in Straden at the volcanic region or Vulkanland Straden. Now you can see just a part of a vineyard. And as I told you, everything started in 1988 with a half hectare of wine. And now today we are here with 34 hectares, self-cultivated vineyards, and we buy grapes about 40 hectares to produce our wine. On this picture, you can see our most important single vineyards. The four most important are the Rosenberg, the Kargebirge, the Neusetzberg, and the Hochstrandl, which are all located around in the region of Straden. But today we will taste Pinot Blanc from the Neusetzberg. Just a picture of our stainless steel cellar, which is the most important place for our regional wines, because we also produce wines from the DAC system in Austria. That means regional wines, village wines, and single vineyard wines. Here you can see our wooden barrel cellar. In this, the village wines are matured, and of course, the most of the single vineyard wines. Also, our Pinot Blanc we are tasting today is matured in a small barrel for 12 months, and after that, 6 months in a big wooden barrel. Now you can see on the picture Stefan Krispel, the winemaker and the manager of our wine estate right now. And we are not only doing wine, we also doing wool pig or Mangalitzer pig farming. The Mangalitzer came to the Krispel estate around about the year 2000, And Tony Krispel brought it back to our region because it was nearly died out. And we sell the Mangalitsa products in our shop online. We prepare lovely dishes in our restaurant. Yeah, so we try to do our best with food and wine. And now you can see a picture of our restaurant, of our new created restaurant. It's since last year, May, it was opened. It's named Genusstheater, so you can translate it with Theater of Pleasures. We built a kitchen outside at the terrace. You can see on the left part of the picture. So the guests sit outside and watch the chefs working inside. And of course, we are in the volcanic region. We took a big basalt stone in the center of the kitchen because basalt, you heard it already, is a real important soil here in the region. Thank you. And now here we are for the Pinot Blanc Ried Neusetzberg Harvest 2019. Just want to tell you something about this wine. This wine is a Premier Cru because we are in a conclosure of 9 winemakers. That is the name Eruptionswinzer, like the eruption winemakers. And we have our own style of bottle. As you can see on the top, it's not the Styria Panther label. It's the label of the volcanic region here in Styria, which is not only a wine region, it is also touristic region. Okay, what kind of barrels you're using? We use French oak, Limousin, and Islay. What is the idea behind the bottle shape? Yes, this is an exclusive bottle shape that are only the eruption wincers allowed to use. So they want to show the conclosure of that 9 wincers. So everyone should take the same bottle of those 9 eruption winemakers. Yeah, our Pinot Blanc Ried Neusetzberg. So Ried Neusetzberg, I always say it's our house vineyard because when you visit our vineyard and look outside the shop, you can see the plants of this vineyard. We have their typical volcanic region soil. We have 2 to 3 meters red clay, and at the lower part we have some limestone and a thin basalt stone. So as I told you, it was 12 months in a small bottle and 6 in a big wooden small barrel, and 6 months in a big wooden barrel. And in the nose, you have a really fruity palate, also a little smoky from the barrel, almonds, clove, anisette, pineapple, and it's very animating acidity. Acidity is real high, I guess, with 7.3, yes. And a real long mineralic and strong finish.
Okay, Nina, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's really interesting. Tell me, total production?
Of this wine, around about 3,000 bottles.
3,000. And the price for private consumer?
For Excellus, we sell it for 24 euros.
24 euros. And do you have an importer?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, great. Thank you. So, and tell me the Erstelagen, the STK. STK.
Yeah, it's a little bit different because these 9 eruption winemakers have his own classification. So we make a mixture of the Burgund and Bordeaux. So it's a classification of the single vineyard and of the winemaker. And this together is a system of 100 points. And at least you have to reach 75 points for a Premier Cru and more than 85 points for a Grand Cru. So, yeah.
Okay, so Sounds interesting. And what's your position regarding the Erste Lagen from Kamptal, Kremstal, and Danube Valley? It's the.
What do you mean?
I mean the Erste Lagen association with Michael Mosbrugger.
No, we do our own classification with the company Lacune. That is controlling us.
Okay, so this is not a unique model for whole Austria of Erste Lagen.
This is a model that only made for the eruption winemakers.
Okay, so for the 9 wineries participating, and you want to enlarge the number of the wineries, or this is just a closed club?
For the moment, not.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me, this is a typical Austrian trap. Should I pronounce Crispel or Krispel?
Some people say Krispel, but in the correct way, it's Crispel with an S, not with an SCH.
Okay, so how you find the foreigners, right? Crispel is coming from outside, right? Good. Thank you very much. You did perfectly well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Great discovery. Congrats on the wine. Well, so the wine was appreciated. Thank you, Nina.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay with us if any comments are coming. And now it's Bernard, and I'm pretty sure this is Bernard this time. Bernard, hello? Bernard. Yes. And we can see you, and we see you. Good. Hello.
Hello. A warm welcome.
Hello. So the floor is yours, Bernard. Can we hear you?
I can't hear you.
Yeah, good, fine. So it's fine. Go on, please.
Okay. Hello, and a warm welcome from my side. My name is Bernard, and I started back in 2007 with my 2 elder siblings, which you can see on the right side, Claudia and Klaus. A small boutique winery or garage winery when we still went to school in Silberberg and in Klosterneuburg. We started our first trials of making wine. My parents have been selling those grapes, and my elder brother Klaus was interested in it, and therefore he started to make wine out of it. On this picture, you can see that our region, like you heard it in the introduction, is characterized by the extinct volcanoes. And on the horizon, you can see the Stratnerkogel, which is one of the highest hills in our region with 609 meters, which is influencing our Riedstratenberg wine. Now this picture you can see, you're in the middle of the Riedstratenberg, which has a south expression and has a lot of influence of weathering volcanic rock, and of course basalt. We did our first trials making wine back in 2007, and we always wanted to make wines which we are drinking ourselves, and therefore we started in 2015 to make wines we like to drink ourselves. So we started, we are a small organic winery, which is very important for us. Because biodiversity and vibrance in the vineyard and in the wines is very important for us, and therefore we ferment all our wines spontaneously with natural yeasts, and we are working with no additives, just a little bit of sulfur before bottling, which is very important for us. We're also working with a lot of time and patience in the cellar. And as you can see, we're working with a lot of oak barrels because we are loving the vibrance which the maturing in the barrels is giving to the wine. What's also very important is that we want the wines to develop independently in the cellar, and so we only create the basic conditions in the vineyard for this. And yeah, now when we are coming to the wine, Rittstratenberg Old Wines 2019. We started back in 2007 with 1 hectare of vineyard, and we had the possibility to work with Rittstratenberg since 2019, and so it's been the first vintage. And our main portfolio has a focus on Marelon, so called Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and Riesling. And this vineyard, Rittstratenberg, there is planted Weißburgunder, Welschriesling, and Grauburgunder. And therefore, it was always the main idea to bring out the expression of the Stratenberg side into the bottle. So it was always the idea to make a cuvée out of this. So it's non-specific. It's blended like this in the vineyard. And about 10%, so a little bit of the Weißburgunder and Grauburgunder is fermented on the skins for about 10 days and then brought together in a new 1,500 liter oak barrel. And is matured on the lees for 18 months and then was bottled in May after 18 months and last year in May in 2021. For us, the wine is still very young, but also already shows a lot of expression of the Stratenberg side, which has always a warm taste on the palate, and it's for me it's very vibrant and has a lot of depth. And yeah, what's important for us, it has a lot of character of origin. So our estate is still under construction, still under development, and yeah, we don't yet live from the wine, but already for it.
Okay, thank you, Bernard. Thank you very much. Tell me the price, retail price.
I'm sorry, I don't know why, but I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Okay. There's a problem with your headset,
Just a
perhaps.
second.
We love that minimalist label.
Can you hear me, Bernhard?
No, there's a problem with.
Yeah, now it's working.
Okay.
Now it's working? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me price for a retail, for a consumer, end consumer, final.
It's the price is 25 euros.
25 euros?
Yeah.
And production of this wine?
We have about, it's about 1,500 bottles.
1,500 bottles, right. And what about the importer?
We don't have any importer yet because we're still very young.
You're still very young. Okay, good. Good to be young. We love the minimalist label, and great love. We love your approach. It's still the same. It's your wine. Yeah. Oh, they like it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bernard. Stay with us if any more comments. And now, guys, is the last wine. And the last wine, I'm pretty sure this is Manuel or Celine. I think it's Manuel. Yes.
Hello, Pietro.
Hello, Manuel. Hello again.
Thank
Long
you.
time.
Thanks, Sylvia, for the good organization.
Thank you. Go on,
And
please.
thank everybody for joining us. It's nice to don't see you, but may I can feel a little bit of nice vibes and from Poland, which gets good waves from my colleagues from the volcanic area. Yeah, my name is Manuel from the biodynamic winery Ploda Rosenberg in the volcanic area in Styria. And we are quite well known for characterful wines with skin contact. I'm the third generation of the winery, and my first vintage was 2011. Yeah, on the picture you see in the middle my wife and me, and on the side my father and my mother. And yeah, we do 10 hectares of vineyards with a total around 30,000 bottles. Mainly white, a little bit of red, maybe 5%. And we are focused on PV grapes, the nickname of fungi-resistant grapes. So our main grape at the winery is Souvenir Gris. And yeah, of the soils in the area, you hear a lot. You hear a lot. We do we do 4 different wine lines. Starting with our fundamental line with 20-30 hours of maceration. And then we went up to a little bit more than 1 year on the skins. So for that, to figure out more, please visit our homepage. And next to the PV grapes, on one side and on the other side, the biodiversity of the soils, we are focused on blends. So the fundamental line and the top of the wines are blends, cuvées, and the middle segment we call linear line. The line A is focused on the variety and on the vintage and on the vineyard. And the wine today we share together is Cara, I guess. Yes, it's Cara. Vintage 19. It belongs to our fundamental line. And in the fundamental line, we try to figure out the 2 main characters we can find in wine. On one side, the aromatic character, and on the other side, the Burgunder character. And Cara in English means something like charm. It's the language Esperanto. And so it belongs to the charm of different Burgunder grapes on the vinifera side and also on the PV side. So how I said, it's around 25-30 hours on the skins, and then we press it and put the juice into a big oak barrel, and it stays there for 10-12 months on the full yeast, and then we rack it until the bottling on the fine yeast, and the bottling happens around 12 or 18 months around that after the harvest. Yeah, I will describe the wine because I guess everybody has a good nose and a good taste and will find his own words and his own feelings for the wine. So I just can say many, many thanks to share us. Hopefully see you here in Styria once, and otherwise would be a pleasure for me to visit Poland.
Yeah,
and
you're welcome to
have
Poland.
a good evening and enjoy life. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Manuel. Just let me ask you the question about the total production, retail price, and importer.
Yeah, how I say that the total production is around 30,000 bottles, and on this on this wine Cara it will be around 4,000 or 5,000 bottles, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the price is 15 euros ex-seller for the private customer. No importer so far in Poland, so we will see.
Let's see. Let's hope it may change. We love this one. Definitely great potential. So
thank you. Very nice.
Thank you, Manuel. And I'm happy I'm not the only one who doesn't know Yeah, thank you. It's very well. Thank you very much for this. Sylvia, will you join us? It was a really great grande finale.
Good evening.
Manuel. Sylvia?
Yes, thanks to all of you, like the producers and all of you tasting the wines from Styria and Hungary. You see the bottles again lined up in the order of the tasting. We of course hope you like them and that you like them as much as you would like to even order some. Some of the producers don't have an importer yet, as you have heard. And it would be great if we'll find their wines in Poland somewhere.
Yeah, thank you very much. Awesome wines. Thank you very much. It was very interesting. And this is Chimera writing, which is the first time ever, perhaps. So that must be something. That was something. Not true. Well, the second. Okay, good. The second. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, guys. And yes, we love this one. Definitely great. Oh, yes, many thanks. Yeah. Super presentation. Thank you so much. So it was 7 wines, but tremendous wines. Yeah, many thanks.
Thanks to all, and see you next time, hopefully.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Sylvia. Bye, folks. Thank you. Thank you for being with us.